Cool, man. Um, so if you wanna start off, Buick Enclave,
Buick
the
Enclave,
Enclave.
the Chevy Traverse, and the GMC Arcadia. Easily the worst vehicle GM has ever produced.
Where do we begin?
Where do we begin? It's not even that. It's not even that it's like necessarily a bad car from like the consumer's end.
Yeah, no. If you're buying one, that's fine.
But
So
I will
it's-
hate you
it's
if
not
you
a-
ask
yeah,
me to work on it.
Yeah, honestly, and especially the Buick Enclave, and of course, like Buick wise, as opposed to like the Chevy Traverse. It is still a high end vehicle, higher. It's nice on the inside. A lot of accommodating features.
I still have
Honestly,
issues
not a
with
whole
that,
lot of
but-
complaints as far as like what's wrong with it on the inside or just the quality. But man, if you're the guy on the other end,
Yeah, I mean, I forget. Have you actually had the misfortune of having to work on one?
yep.
Just for-
Down to an oil change, and then everything up past to probably pulling chains.
You've done chains on it?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
Me
But
neither, but I know
yeah.
people who have.
Yeah, me too. I know a lot of people that worked at Chevy dealerships, and they had to do them. And what I will say is that every time I talk to someone, I don't know about you, but everyone that I talk to about doing the chains, they loved them. But I have a theory behind this.
No, they're
They do them a
masochists.
lot. They do them a lot, and the way that they're doing them is that they hardly have to pop the hood, so the whole thing's coming.
They drop the engine.
The whole thing's coming out of the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like large jobs like
Yeah.
that, where you're gonna have to remove a bunch of stuff, I'm sure it's no worse than everything.
Yeah.
But my
So
biggest
all of our
issue
complaints come from
stems
the engine
from-
being in.
yeah, it stems from the simple fact that they designed this vehicle to be difficult to perform, very regular, very scheduled, very necessary
Yeah.
service. So they put the engine in the front of the car, mounted it sideways. That's fine. That's 90% of the cars on the road. But what they decided to do was encase it in plastic. Like there's a foot of plastic in every direction from the engine, front, back, side to side. And it like hugs the engine.
Yeah.
So you can't reach down from the top to get to anything. And if you pull this plastic off, you realize it's not just plastic, but they've put the crash structure right there around it.
Yeah.
You take that front, especially at the front, like where the catalytic converter is and where the oil filter is, which is my biggest complaint. The metal is right at the edge. It's not just plastic there for show to cover up like the ugly bits. It's all supported by metal. So they put the oil filter on the front, and they put it right next to and slightly under. Yeah, look at
Yep.
this. Like what?
There it is.
It's like a foot of plastic in every direction. But
I know, and then there's just this like little opening.
yeah,
that they're
just
like,
big enough for the
they're like, oh,
the
look, we
plastic
put-
plenum cover.
Yeah, they're like, oh look, just in case you needed help getting this out, we put a little indent on the side, which is it's not enough. I mean, to put it into perspective, like if you looked up like the same picture, it's about where that as far down is where that Buick symbol ends. Is how far down that filter is.
Yeah, and they put
It's
it
deep.
right next to and right under not just the exhaust manifold, but the catalytic converter,
Yeah.
which is the single hottest point of the car. They get up to like 1,200 degrees
Yeah.
under
Yeah.
normal operation. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and what is like 90% of the oil changes that
Oh,
ever
yeah,
happen or exist?
There are waiters,
Yep.
which, if you're not in the industry, means you drove the car in and you're waiting for it,
Yeah.
and you don't want to wait long. I
Yeah.
don't care how patient you say you are. If you tell me to take your time, after 45 minutes, you're going to get antsy.
Yeah. So it goes without saying, folks, if you're taking your car in, just do us a favor.
Drop it off.
Drop it the fuck off.
I can't even say do us a favor because you and me got out of the
Yeah, we
industry.
did. Yeah, but I mean,
for those
but
still
do
in it.
us a favor for the rest of the industry that we're talking
For
about.
every
We've
blue-collar
left the
worker
industry
out there.
behind for this vehicle.
One of
But
the reasons.
One of many. But jeez.
But yeah. So you've got a smoking hot catalytic converter. You've got the engine block, which is at least 200 degrees. Then you've got the radiator right in front of it, which is also, maybe a little cooler, like 150, 160, still hot enough to burn.
Yeah.
and then they put the engine mount right under it.
Yeah.
So what happens, and this is for everyone else's benefit, since you know very well what happens, is you take the oil filter out and it dumps a bunch of oil onto that motor mount.
Yeah.
So now you've got to waste like half a can of brake clean or a whole can of brake clean, a bunch of rags to try to clean it out, because if you don't, it drips. The
Your
customer
fault.
takes their car home, and
Come
they see
back.
an oil spot in the driveway, and then they come back and they yell at you, and you got to look at the car, and then nothing's wrong. It's just a mess. But there's so many little nooks and crannies underneath that.
Yeah.
So many, and you can never get it all out. You just
Yeah.
got to like, the shop I worked at had a water hose. I
Yeah.
would just spray water
Dude.
for like 2 minutes straight just to get all the
Yeah.
oil out.
when I
This
worked
is
at,
regular maintenance. This is supposed to be done every 5,000, 8,000 miles. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't something that, oh, that usually never breaks. We never have to worry about that. You don't need to worry about making that accessible. It's like,
Yeah.
this is the one thing where you can count on like clockwork that's
Yeah.
going to need to be accessed. It's going to make a mess, and you did everything in your power as the engineer or designer at GM to make that a massive pain in the ass.
Yeah. I think to that point, I don't know. I mean, I think it seems like it's more of an undersight rather than like
Yeah, and if you ask any mechanic, they'll tell you that every engineer or every designer should be forced to work on their creation at least once just to see what it's like before they push it through.
Yeah, it's a good point. And I agree, and I feel like
It's not practical, but something needs to change.
I would say like 99% of Toyotas were like that, and like especially
Well, I
like,
know the older Toyotas that had a very similar setup. The oil filter was right on the side of the block.
oh, the 2.2s.
Yeah,
Two
and it was
four
right under the
cylinders.
manifold.
If you got a 99
But there was
Camry,
so
pop
much
your hood.
room. There was still
Yeah.
plenty of room.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, it reminded me of like a wave. The way the exhaust manifold was shaped.
Yeah.
Like all coming off it looked like a wave.
Mm-hmm.
And you could just like boom, there it was. Yes, dude, those things were also rock solid. Those 2.2s.
Well, it's a Toyota.
Yeah, I know, but specific. Well, but also Toyota had that they were doing piston rings in the 2005 the VVTi.
Honda was as well.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like for Toyota, it was like, oh, whoa, we're doing piston rings, and it's
Toyota
like
was doing
a TC.
entire frames on their Tundras and Tacomas.
I know. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was.
so not all of them are
Yeah.
without sin. But
Yeah, yeah. I know, but good on them to like be like recalled. I mean,
yeah, and then you got GM with their ignition switches.
yeah, when I worked there, it was 20. I guess it was probably 2014, I think.
How many years were you?
A little over a year.
Well,
at
how many years were you
Toyota.
working on cars?
Technically, so I started with Toyota in high school.
That was 2013.
Well, that's when I graduated.
Yeah,
so
it was
but
senior
I was
year was when we were doing.
Oh yeah, I guess. Well, I guess technically my senior year.
Started in 2012.
Exactly. So, but I started that summer.
Okay,
So like
2012.
summer 2012, and then I quit the summer of 20. I think I
when did you
quit. I think I quit.
When did you start your current job?
No, not from Toyota. No, so I went from.
Well, I'm just curious how many years you worked on cars. So when you started your current job was when you stopped working on cars.
Yeah. So when I stopped working on cars was I think 2016.
So you made it a good 4 years.
I think about 4 years of like 2 years of actually doing it and like 2 years of like learning how a shop works.
Lube tech.
Yeah. But I mean,
General
and dude, and
service
I'm
tech.
like, I'm thankful for all of that, the experience, but also just the fact that I did jump around a little bit. So like I started out at Toyota, went to an independent shop, very low grade independent shop, which like kind of showed me what a shop can get to
When you're in the trenches.
when you're in the trenches, which honestly was the most fun. Like those guys are the best. Like, I mean, you know, the God forbid there was a moment of like not having to do work, we found something to do. So I'm like, and it wasn't cleaning the shop. So it was a lot of fun. But going from that and then realizing that like, hey, like I'm gonna go nowhere here. You know, I have to get out. And then getting a job at Lexus, you know, then kind of getting there and they're like they're Zamboniing the floors
Yeah,
underneath my bay. I don't clean my own bay.
Yeah, didn't you have white service shirts
Yeah.
too? That was,
Well, yeah, but I think like the authentic ones were like a a medium gray, and then
Still
like
not
above the shoulder
idea.
was like, yeah. No, and then but what they would really give you, they gave you a ton of was black t-shirts. They just give you black t-shirts, black pants, black t-shirts. They just said Lexus on them.
That's ideal.
Yeah, I still have some today. Some like I've long sleeve shirts I use for work now.
I still have some Brandywine t-shirts.
PC. Oh, well, shout out. I mean, can we shout out? Do we? Probably shouldn't. But yes,
yeah,
I
it
know
doesn't
the
take much
era that you're talking about.
Guessing. If you dig hard enough, you can figure out where I worked. I don't really care.
Yeah, but yeah, then going to Lexus, and then like seeing like as good as it probably can get. Like I'm sure if you work at Lamborghini or Audi or it can go higher than
But
Lexus.
as far as,
but like Lexus like showed me what that looked like, and it also showed me that it didn't matter. It was the exact same work environment, working conditions. Yeah,
I mean, you learn real quick working in blue collar that no one is really a professional in the professional sense. Like they know what they're doing. Yeah. But these are not your prim and proper professionals.
Dude, I think it also there's been a big change now. I feel like, especially like just because of the workforce people that have like just left, and like there's not a whole lot of people coming back into doing these like more blue collar jobs, I guess. But not to like throw. It feels weird to talk about money, but like in a bad way. Like I was doing timing belts on Lexuses. Flat rate at I think 21 was the age that I was, maybe 21, very young, at $11 an hour.
You're not getting paid enough, and
like I thought that I was there. I'm like I'm in. I'm making $11 an hour. I'm flat rate.
Oh,
I'm a
you
real
sweet
tech
summer
now.
child.
I'm a real tech now. I make flat rate. And I'm doing timing belts. I'm doing all the things I want to do.
Yeah, that's
I'm
a
getting
whole
like big maintenance jobs.
That's a whole other rant that I plan on going on.
Yeah,
we'll touch on that after.
Yeah. We'll prepare for that. But we're kind of falling into it. So I'm just like, but it's such a crazy thing to think about. Like when just perspective is where you are in life. Of like being like, holy shit, like I'm here. I made it. And like you're walking around, there's like nice shop, a nice break room, and then like the realization comes that like everybody in the shop is doing like the exact same job. So I don't know how like the jobs were with you, but like we literally clicked a button in the morning. We had a computer that was at our desk or at our toolboxes.
Yep.
Clicked a button, like a find job, and then you got whatever came to you. That was it.
Yeah.
Like unless there was something that was a comeback, those things, or like a crazy diagnostic job wouldn't make it into the system. I'll go to the foreman. Yeah. They just knew. But but everything else, like timing chains and timing belts, whatever, there's a few like big jobs where like you had to like to just reseal the front differential on like an RX like 350. A lot of stuff had to come down, but there was a lot of cool ways to like
shortcut
speed the job up. Exactly. So like those are like the gravy jobs. All of those jobs would just go in, and like the 60K maintenances that like pay a bunch of money, like all that stuff, they would just go in there. So like when I would get those jobs, and like people would get mad about it because like they were like, you're taking money from me. Like it's like, but everybody's getting but in the same sense though. But I'm also like that meant that I'm also like I'm in there with the big guys. Like I'm like now I'm like just starting out, but I'm like cool. I'm doing all this stuff too, and I'm doing it, and whatever, it's going great. And then I realized how much money I'm making, and I was like, holy crap. And then I talked to my boss, and I'm like, they had to like give you ASEs, I'm like, all right, cool, I'll do
Lexus
those.
actually cared about ASEs?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. And they would give you a raise like for the ASEs that you get, and then you realize like what you get, like 25 cents for every one you did. You had to do them all after work. They didn't pay for them. You had to pay out of your pocket.
And then you have to drive to a Proctor site to do them.
Exactly. Yeah. I did mine at Napa.
I did mine right on Airport Road.
Yeah.
They have a facility there.
Yeah.
And I went there every time to do it. I had like 6 or 7 of them at one
Dude,
point.
I didn't get that far. I think I got to like 2 or 3, and I realized how much money I was getting from them, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
I gave up. But it just these are all the things that like sparked me to like leave the industry. That's all. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Just to put that to a button.
but that got me, ASEs got me from like $11 an hour up to 15, I think.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
It was 6,
I was
yeah.
in the industry
6.
longer than you.
Yeah.
Yeah. 9 years.
Yeah.
I got out right before I was in there for a decade.
Yeah.
And I started off at a dealership, same as you, high school, senior year.
Yeah.
And then after that, I went up to automotive school, up in PA, and moved away, quit that job. Spent way too long before I got another job and burned all my savings. But got into a Honda dealership, a really big one. Really nice. Like, same as you. Like, this is as good as these non-specialty dealerships come. And,
Yeah,
by
you hit
specialty
that-
dealership, I mean, like, the exotic cars.
You hit that
Lamborghini,
nice
whatever.
dealership, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. And I started off as a valet there because it was the only position I could get, because in this area there are 2 automotive schools. So this place is saturated with low-level techs that are just starting out, looking to get their foot in the door. So getting a job in that area is kind of difficult. But I got a job there, got bumped into the Express Tech section, was doing oil changes and like differential services, filter changes, little stuff like that. And I think I was making like 10 or somewhere around like $10 or $11 an hour doing that. And I was hourly at the time because I was a
Which
lube
is
tech.
wild. It's wild that you were being paid about the same money I was.
When I started at Chrysler, it was $850, $875, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that the industry has changed. Like, if
It's
you start
that-
today,
We're
like,
talking 10 years
We're talking
ago.
inflation. Yeah,
We're talking over 10 years
and then
ago,
we're
so
also
it's come
talking
up.
like just the inavailability of having techs, people even asking for a job. But
Like, I think
Yeah, but
the
it's
industry
just-
that
but-
we work in now, probably on average,
that was probably this like close to like the same year.
well, the industry that we're in now, in this day and age, I want to say probably starts, fresh, just out of school, or
Yeah.
fresh, completely green, maybe around like 15.
Yeah.
So it's gone up from
Yeah.
the 850 that I got when I
Yeah.
first started.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
But I left Honda and went to an independent shop, and like you said, I was in the trenches.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing engine swaps at this shop. This isn't just
Yeah.
a Jiffy Lube. Like,
Yeah.
we're doing some big stuff here.
Exactly.
And
And
I
it's
got
stuff, it's stuff that no one is a specialist in.
yeah.
That's
and-
like the beauty of like I love. I mean, like appreciation to all of the trades and anybody who's at a dealership or an independent, but like you do see a certain like different kind of attitude that comes from the guys who work in an independent who are like, yeah, I work on everything and like I know a little bit about everything and I'm not scared of nothing. Is
Yeah.
kind of like the attitude where they're like a BMW comes in, they're like, cool, and if a Honda comes in, they're like, okay,
yeah,
cool.
I had to do an alternator on a BMW.
Yeah.
It was water cooled.
Yeah, the
Who does that?
alternator itself was water cooled.
Yes, it was
Holy shit.
it was in this like recess, this cast aluminum recess,
Yeah.
and it had a gasket around there, and it bolted into this bowl that had an inlet and an outlet, and coolant flowed through it.
Holy shit.
I was like, and
But that's the kind of thing. Those are the kind of curveballs that you get hit
Yeah.
with at an independent. That like
was
where
just
like
like,
if you're,
what the
I mean,
hell
to
am
be
I
honest, like
looking
I
at?
had, I mean, I won't say where, but I had been in a few dealerships where like the few that I had been in, where like those guys like, if you gave them any other car, they couldn't work on it.
yeah,
They had no idea what they were doing. Like they just had learned what it takes to do the job on those cars, and that's it.
and
Like they couldn't work on their own car. Isn't that crazy though? Like these are people.
that seems a lot like, at least in my experience, they are the minority.
I met a.
You know what? Maybe
I
not.
met a few.
Maybe not.
There's a few people who came in who were just like somebody who like came off the street and were like, look, I've been here for almost 15 years, and like, no, I'm not the top lead tech. I'm not the best, but I've literally just shown up every day and learned everything. And I don't know anything else other than this right here, but this is what I know. But if you give me another car, like there's no transferable skills. Like they've just learned.
That's a mental block.
Isn't it crazy how? But it is. But like it's just crazy to me how like I saw that on a few occasions where like I'd met people that worked there. And I'm like, and they had no interest really in cars. They were just there
for
doing a job, and then they were, but also like really smart. And they were teaching me things.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that I was kind of smart.
There's two ways of learning. There's learning by rote.
Yeah.
And then there's learning by like deconstructing and understanding how things actually work. That's the kind of learning that I do.
Yeah.
And I don't pick up, learning by rote very well because it will bother me to no end. Like, why am I doing this step in the process? But regardless,
Tangent.
I worked at the independent shop for 2 years, 6 days a week, took like one vacation for like a couple days. That burnt me out, but after that was when I went to a Kia dealership, one that I returned to many times. But that's when I switched to flat rate. That was when I got to flat rate. And luckily, the guy that hired me there was a former manager of mine, both at the independent shop and at Honda before that. So he got me in the door for like $18 an hour.
Damn.
Right in the door, off the bat.
Damn.
And
Jeez.
I was making bank.
Yeah.
That was great. Like, the dealership was busy. The work was good. The warranty work was not that prominent.
Yeah.
There was plenty of like actual maintenance work, and I was making money. That was like the most money I had ever made in my life at that point. And I was just like, this is great.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't. The people that I worked with were great, and kind of to what you were saying, working on one product over and over again was nice in that you learn the ins and outs. You became like very familiar with how things worked and what normally broke. And if you took the time to figure out why, then you got transferable skills if something else came in the door.
You got good.
But working in that dealership was like where I really, really kind of fell into my groove. Figured it out. Got a really firm grasp on like electrical diagnosis. Like I had picked up the theory well enough in school. But putting it into practice there and seeing how it played out in the real world, that's where it like really cemented for me.
It's so crazy how different that is.
Yeah.
What's funny for me is that I was, like, when I was working on cars, I was in that little like middle stage of wiring diagrams where like I would sit in front of like all data or like whatever I was working on.
Pro demand.
Yeah. And I was like, sitting in front of it, and I'm just like, looking at this and just kind of scrolling to see if I could make more sense of it. And I would have to call the foreman over and be like, if you were doing this, it was one of those. And like they always give you a hard time, but they're like, look, get the job done. Let me help you out, and they'll help you out. But I had a real issue with it. And then going to like, our current jobs now is like we're like the diagrams, they all. Just reading any wiring diagram, no matter what the voltage or the product, then it was like, okay, cool. That's when I got it all. But yeah, that's where I was when I first started, and I remember being like, which is like always like so funny to me because I was like, for probably the first like week of me starting, I was like. All that's behind me now. Like I won't have to learn any of that because I was like kind of nervous of learning electrical shit and like reading a diagram and all that. It's so hard, but once you get it, it's good. But like, yeah, it was that weird period of just being like, and then like realizing I needed to actually learn it.
Yeah, and I mean, learning once you learn to read a wiring diagram, you realize like the basics of it. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
It's just not getting lost
yes.
when you're following the wiring.
Yep. Yep.
And figuring out, like, okay, is this supposed to be power? Is this supposed to be ground? Is this common? Is this L1, L2? Like,
yeah. You can overthink, and this probably goes for everything. But as soon as you overthink it, like that's when you're start to get lost. Yep, you're in the weeds. Yeah.
Yeah, but I worked at that Kia dealership for a while, and then moved to a Hyundai dealership, then moved back to that Kia dealership, then moved to a different Hyundai dealership, then back to that Kia dealership, and then you dragged me out of that kicking and screaming into the HVAC industry. But that was mostly because, and here's where I'm going to go into a rant on flat rate.
Okay.
So the biggest reason for me jumping ship is, two reasons. One is kind of like what you experience, where like you look around like this is it.
Yeah.
This is all I'm going to do. I'm going to like make more money until the dealership doesn't want to pay me any more money. Yep. And then what? Like, where's my way up? I could go for shop foreman. We already have a shop foreman and a damn good one, and he's going to be in this for a while.
Yeah. And that guy's miserable, by the way. I'm sorry if you're a shop foreman, but you can relate to this. You're probably miserable.
Chris wasn't that miserable.
Yeah.
Usually.
See, because, like, you're just inundated with all the problems.
The other issue was that, like, the Kia dealership I worked at was one of the better dealerships to work at in terms of, like, being able to make money, and then the techs in the shop were really good people. Like, you remember when you were talking to me about jumping ship, it was like, I really like the guys I work with.
Yeah.
I'm really comfortable here, blah, blah, blah. But the management, and not the direct managers usually, although we had a couple of really bad ones, but above them was just toxic, like the worst kind of people.
Yeah, so then at that point it's like if you're a tech and you're like you want to be a service writer, but like, you know, being a service writer, like, Lord willing, but like it does actually take a certain amount of skill. You know, we've all met bad ones, but but it does take a certain amount of skill, and like it's a totally different skill set. An important skill set is knowing about cars. Which many of
at the very least, because some of my better service writers didn't know much about cars, but they knew how to parrot what I told them.
Yeah. Just being able to like comprehend what you're saying.
Yes.
And yeah, parrot is the best word, but like comprehend, but take that information
and then package it in a way that's appealing to the customer.
Yeah, without fucking it up.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Because like you said, I've had some bad service writers that I really liked as people, but God, they couldn't sell anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that was my next point.
We had one that we called the warranty wizard, because somehow every job he touched turned into warranty.
What the fuck?
I loved him as a person. He was the sweetest guy, but God, he cost me so much money.
Yeah. So
now to continue on to the rant about flat rate. For those who don't know, flat rate is a form of pay that most automotive technicians, this is their pay structure. You get paid per job, and each job has a time associated with it. So, a good example, an oil change.
2/10.
3/10 if you're lucky. 3/10 of an hour. For those who don't feel like doing the math, that is 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, every oil change has a PDI. Or not a PDI,
and by the way,
a multi-point inspection.
How many people have gone in for an oil change and waited 18 minutes in the waiting room?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't happen.
So just so you know, like, we're not just fucking around.
And,
like, we're getting fucked.
Again, 18 minutes. That means if I do an oil change for you, I get paid for 18 minutes. So for argument's sake, let's say I was making $10 an hour as like a lube tech. I'm getting paid $1.80.
Yep.
That's how that math's out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting paid $1.80 to change your oil.
Yeah.
18 minutes. So when your car
like
takes
18
longer,
cents on the dollar.
When your car takes longer than that 18 minutes, don't get mad at the tech, because they're losing their ass in money right there.
Yeah.
And the reason it takes long is because we get those multi-point inspections that we are told we have to fill out. The point of that is so that we find things wrong with the car or in need of maintenance to sell to the customer. Customer thinks we're trying to rip them off.
Yeah.
Now, I've met some shady mechanics who have done shady things.
There's bad doctors.
And, you know, to the shock of many people out there, I'm sure, most of the techs aren't that.
No.
They aren't the shady guy.
No.
I've met a few. They are few and far between, and everyone else in the shop hates their guts.
Yeah.
because they are, one, robbing the customers. It's a ding on the reputation. It makes it harder for us to sell shit when they get caught. Legitimate shit.
Yeah.
So, but we've got to fill out that multi-point. That takes time. Setting the car up on the lift and doing it so I don't pinch your side skirt and damage anything.
And forever.
Yeah. It takes a while. If I absolutely rush and I don't do the multi-point at all, and I just maybe glance at the tire tread and make sure your brakes aren't metal to metal, I can do an oil change in 18 minutes. I can.
Yeah.
But I'm barely making money, and the customer's car is not getting looked at. It's getting oil dropped. It's getting a filter slung on it and, oil in. I might set your tire pressure if I'm feeling motivated, and then you're out the door. Mm-hmm. If there's anything wrong with your car, I missed it.
Yeah.
And then you yell at me when something's wrong with your car. I just had it in the shop. So, oil changes are a losing prospect, but every job has a time associated with it. So a brake job might be an hour and a half if it's swapping the brake rotors and the pads, or 2 hours if I'm resurfacing, things like that. As a mechanic, you are incentivized to do that job as quickly as possible and to do it accurately, because if there's a comeback wherein I mess up the car and it has to come back to me, I'm doing that repair for free. I'm not getting paid. So it is in my best interest to do it right. But it's also my best interest to do it as fast as possible, because if I can do a full brake job in 1 hour and it pays an hour and a half, I just got that half hour regardless of how long it took. And if I can keep doing brake jobs and keep stacking that extra half hour, all of a sudden I've got 15 hours in a day worth of pay for 10 hours of work. So, on paper it's oh, this doesn't sound bad.
Yeah.
And that's what enticed you and me in.
Yeah.
When we first jumped into it.
Yep.
And, that first year or so when I was in the dealership and flat rate, that's how it was. I was making bank.
Yeah.
But then this ugly thing called warranty rears its head. Now, warranty jobs generally pay less than a customer pay job, because warranty is being paid by the manufacturer. They are paying for the parts. They are paying for the labor for the repair. They are paying for the rental car that you have to give the customer in some cases. So they want to minimize that, hemorrhaging of money.
Right.
And why do they do that? They can't do that to the customers. That's going to ruin their reputation.
They're starting with you.
Yeah, they take it out of the tech's pocket.
Yeah.
That, hour and a half brake job, if it's for whatever reason under warranty, 45 minutes.
Yep.
There you go. Get it done.
Yep.
So, at the Kia dealership I worked at, I don't know what necessarily caused it, but, warranty jobs started going up. Customers started, buying less maintenance. And, some of the maintenance, I'm not going to say is superfluous, but it's you don't need to maintain it quite as often as, the recommended interval.
Of course.
But it's in your best interest if you do.
Right.
Especially with Kia.
Yeah.
But, so, the maintenance jobs, the 30K service, which is, we're going to...
30, 60, 90,
30, 60, 90s, all that, where we change, fluids and all that stuff. That paid me well, and I could do that job quick because I could have multiple fluids draining at once while I'm rotating your tires and checking your brakes and all that. And if you get your system down...
A 60K at Lexus was 3 hours.
Yeah, that's what it was at Kia, I think. It was 3 hours. I was banging them out in an hour.
Yeah.
But I was doing everything. I wasn't skipping anything.
How about PDIs?
I'll get to that. That's another rant that I need to go on.
I don't want to jump forward.
But,
I like PDIs.
I did. But, the warranty work pays less per job, so, you lose your ass on that. And on top of that, a lot of it was warranty diag, wherein something's going screwy with the car. I need to figure out what's going screwy with the car. Again, contrary to popular belief, there is no machine I can just plug the car into to tell me what's wrong with it. I can put a scan tool on it and it will give me a diagnostic trouble code that
Let's make a video out of that.
At which...
Yeah, we'll just move past. Everyone needs to know that, but yeah.
It hints at what system's wrong, and then you have to dig.
I know that is one of your pet peeves.
But...
along with the Buick Enclave.
Yeah, but the whole thing about warranty diag is, at least with Kia, it paid, maybe half an hour. It didn't matter if I spent 2 hours tracing one broken CAN communication wire throughout the whole frickin' wiring harness. They didn't want to pay shit. So I lost my ass on so much warranty diag. And that was the other thing. You get better at your job as a mechanic,
Yeah.
you get the harder jobs.
Yep.
And they don't pay better.
Nope.
At all.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think what's so crazy is that I could see the writing on the wall, and I was in the honeymoon stage of working on cars. Like, they were giving me blower fan motors, brake jobs, just like nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
You know, I got good jobs, but I couldn't find a reason to stay. I was like, I mean,
my retirement plan, I'm going to curl up in that corner over there and die.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, a lot of the less well-funded dealerships, I guess you could say, and some of the non-union dealerships, I guess, there's no benefits. Like, there is really shitty health insurance, and this is a back-breaking job.
What dealerships were union? I don't know if we shout them out. I don't know.
The Honda dealership I worked at was union. The Nissan dealership my roommate works at is union. A lot of them are, actually.
Interesting.
But a lot of them, aren't. And, no 401k or retirement thing. Like, retirement? What's that?
That's wild. I think also I was, way too young to even be I was on my mom's insurance.
It didn't matter to me at the time.
Yeah, if they offered it to me, I don't remember what they gave me.
I might have $100 in a 401k from the Honda dealership I worked at, because I was not making that much money and I didn't have much to put into it, but they did have some sort of retirement fund, an IRA or a 401k or something.
Yeah.
But
hey, we need auto mechanics, so if you're listening, you should be an auto mechanic.
No, you shouldn't, because that's why I got out, and I'm going to go on that real quick. So you said you saw the writing on the wall, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I know.
see, that was a small scribble in the upper corner of the wall.
Yeah.
The real writing hadn't shown up yet. That showed up when I left, for me
Yeah.
at least. And I know I've talked to you before when you were, again, trying to convince me to leave and join up. But at the Kia dealership that I worked at, at all Kia dealerships, they've got Kia school that you're supposed to go to periodically whenever they change something to learn, to be trained.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the techs had just come back from a new class about their new hybrids and electric cars that were coming out. And he told me that the instructors there, that they're part of Kia corporate, so they know a bunch of stuff before the rest of us, but Kia wanted to basically have all of their vehicles by the mid-2020s or some such date, sometime in the next couple years, to be all hybrid or electric. No just gas cars. Now, as a mechanic, that's just the end of my career, looking at that. Not because I don't understand it. I had already gone through electric car training for some of the early EVs that they had and hybrids and all that. And I've worked on hybrids plenty. But the thing with hybrids and electric cars is they need so much less maintenance than a gasoline car. So on the consumer end, it's great. And now that I'm out of it, sure. When I finally decide that I've had enough buying shit boxes and projects and I want to get a real car, it's probably going to be an electric or a hybrid, because that's all that's going to be available. And the maintenance to them is so much less. Even just the hybrids, the fact that they've got regenerative braking, your brakes now last 80, 90,000 miles. Brakes are a big money maker. I could do brakes real quick, do it right, no comebacks on brakes, and pocket the change. That was one of my bread and butter jobs that I love to get. Those are gone. The fluid changes, gone. Maybe once every 100,000 miles. All that's going to be left with an electric car or a hybrid is warranty claims when the electronics break down, and that doesn't pay shit.
Yeah, and maybe a set of pads at 120.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And at 150,000, I might be replacing the struts.
Yeah.
And tires.
Yeah, so your point is that the industry itself is shrinking. It isn't even that there's not enough.
And as a
people,
flat rate technician, which most technicians are in dealerships, they're going to lose their ass. Yeah. And it might not happen right away. It might take 10, 20, 30 years. I'm still going to be working in 30 years.
Yeah.
That's going to be when I need to really worry about putting money away for retirement, and my income is shrinking fast. Yeah. And on top of that, the only way to fix that is get rid of flat rate. You get paid hourly or get paid salary. But do you think any of these dealerships are going to start giving their technicians more money while simultaneously
doing
taking
less?
a huge hit on revenue from the service side of the dealership? Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's like,
I
hey,
don't know
know
what they're going to do, but
that's
I'm
what
not
I'm-
going to be a part of it.
That's what I'm saying. Like the entire industry, what it's happening is it's shrinking.
Yeah.
So
The money
with
is
it-
shrinking.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. So like with it shrinking, thus shrinks the
While
money.
getting harder.
Yeah, and exactly on all to that, the people that have been with these companies for so long and are really good at their jobs are no longer good at their jobs because everything has also changed.
Yeah.
So I even remember when I had first started, a lot of these like independent companies talked about like, but even just like regular Toyota companies, they talked about like how like tune-ups were a thing, and that like things still had distributors and they had timing and they had like, you know, that there was maintenance to do on distributor caps. There was spark plugs to change. There was like
Gone.
spark plug wires and all of this other
All gone.
all of that stuff is gone. And then, you know, like, God forbid, like the whole carburetor era, which is way before us and the maybe
Yeah.
a tail end of the guys that like maybe taught us, but I mean, if you look back from like where cars started then in auto mechanic, like repair and like going forward, it's gone to less and less maintenance.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
that's
like,
good for the consumer. I have no issues
Exactly.
with that.
And
but
so like I saw
the
that.
pay structure hasn't evolved with it.
Yeah. I saw that, and like I also kind of felt like there wasn't really like a need for me to stay, and like you see that, and you're like, I don't even see an end.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah, there's a light at the
you
end of
got
the tunnel,
out,
but
yeah,
it's a
so-
train.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, because I do feel bad, like in what I was kind of saying, like the beginning, like I kind of feel bad because like I mean we're blue collar guys, you know, so I'd love to push for that because I think that like it is kind of falling on people where like people don't want to do those jobs anymore. I mean they are hard. Obviously they're rewarding in their own ways. They're hard. They're not. But I mean there's tons of people out there that are suited for the job for sure. But I think that just aren't taking it, you know, and don't want to take that initiative
No, I mean,
to do it. And I want to tell them that automotive is. It's still we still need those people to like to change oil and to do these things.
and we will for
but,
a while. Gas
yeah,
cars
for a
aren't
while.
gone.
Yeah, but so I mean I don't want to like I mean I mean you know what happens to the industry, you know it's like. Do they all just go away? Is it all just done, or is it going to be like a few?
Well,
of,
I mean,
the
like, you could get a
specialty shops
job-
that just take care
Yeah,
of.
you
like,
could get a job at
the
like
few.
a Tesla service center.
But I'm just saying, like, is
I don't think they're paid flat rate either.
No,
No, they can't be.
they can't be. Yeah, that's so crazy. That's
But
got to be
Tesla
so
also,
gravy.
you know, does literally everything different from traditional manufacturers to like almost a fault.
Yeah.
Like they purposely avoid things that other manufacturers
Yeah.
have kind of like done as a rule.
Yeah.
What's that car company? Lucid. Lucid is they recently released the Lucid Air, their first production car. It's a super luxury, and if you got the tri-motor Air or something like that, it's actually faster than a Plaid, which is ridiculous. But that was founded by an ex-Tesla engineer, and he said like I was tired of Tesla doing things differently from regular manufacturers, even when it made sense to do it the same. So he went and started his own company. And he's learning the lesson that Tesla learned, that prototypes are easy, production is hard.
Yeah.
They've had issues scaling up their production to actually build the things at scale.
So what do you think? I mean, do we just tell the folks that are listening not to get into cars?
Cars are a great hobby if you
Go
hate
buy
having
one.
free weekends and financial stability.
Yeah.
Totally worth it, totally rewarding. But as for working on them, I'm not going to tell you not to. But what you need to do is look for a shop that does not pay flat rate. And the more that people push for that and don't accept it, the more it's going to force a change in the industry.
Yeah.
That's the only way forward, because it's a necessary, job.
Yeah,
Even
and
with
people
electric
used
cars,
to
they
do
still need that.
really, really well. I mean, there's people who used to make over $100,000 a year.
The foreman
doing
that
flat rate.
Kia that I worked with, I'm pretty certain made 6 digits a year.
Yeah.
And he was a machine. He's still
Yeah.
like one of my one of the favorite people like that I've ever worked
Yeah.
with. But yeah, he's not leaving that dealership anytime soon. He actually did leave once, and I was at a loss for words. I was like, holy shit, he finally did it.
Yeah.
He's back.
Yeah.
He's still working there.
Yeah.
Still keep in touch with him every now
Well,
and again.
good for him. And honestly, it's
I'm sure, yeah, he just leveraged himself a nice
Exactly.
raise because that's the
Yeah.
only way to get a raise in that freaking industry half the time.
well, they probably realized how important he was to that company.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then and you see that deficit, and then you see what's going on. You bring him back, and you know everything's equal again. You know, so I think that doing something like that usually always helps both parties, honestly. But just as far as the industry itself goes, it seems like unless like you're an engineer or you're like, you know, maybe you work for a solar company, like that's the only people that are going to end up like going from one industry going into cars is like if they're in like a tech industry. Like I think that's kind of how it turns into.
Yeah, but why would you do that? Tech industry pays so much better.
Well, you never know. I mean, well, look at the N series at Hyundai. I mean, how did that happen? A guy had to leave BMW.
I mean, if you're talking about, well, first of all, BMW's not a tech company. They're a high tech.
No.
car
But
company.
leaving like one like tier to another.
Well, no,
Oh, industry. I see what you're saying. You're
Yeah.
talking about industry. I'm sorry. Yeah, bad example.
yeah, tech industry. If you leave the tech industry to go into the auto industry, you're either working in the corporate center, you know,
Yeah.
designing the cars and implementing technology, or you're starting your own electric car company.
But I mean, we're not looking at the core of things. I'm looking at the outside. I'm looking at like the reality of like who ends up in the car industry today. Like, I mean,
Who's going into it today?
We're gonna have lube techs. We're gonna have like people.
Yeah,
that
but
can
see, that's the issue right now. Like, if you start as a lube tech right now, your skill set that you develop as you grow as a technician will be obsolete. Because electric and hybrids are, the way forward.
Yeah.
I'm not saying changing oil is going to become obsolete, but the skills that you learn for diagnosing things that are inherent to an internal combustion engine are basically going bye-bye.
Yeah.
By the time you get to be at the age where you now need to seriously consider retirement, saving up money and all that, maybe starting a family, buying your house, electric cars are going to be significantly more prevalent. Maintenance on the combustion motor vehicle, it's just
Next to nothing.
yeah,
That's
going
and
to
then
dry out.
there's just gonna be less of them.
Now you could probably make a carve a niche out for yourself if you work in like a specialty shop.
That's
Vintage Volkswagens or BMWs or
Yeah.
Just something that specializes in
Performance.
performance or restoring old cars. You can always find a niche there, but those jobs are few and far between compared to like the auto industry as a
all of
whole.
those. Yeah, all of those jobs take someone with money to back them.
Yeah.
Because it's somebody's dream that also has a ton of money that's backing it, and that is probably hemorrhaging money and like breaking even, every year, maybe taking a little profit, but
Yeah.
so those aren't very popular either. I get it, but yeah, I feel like that's kind of the button.
Or you go
so.
get a job as at a Tesla service center.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, like,
I
even
know,
if
that's
you
what
wanted
that's
to,
what I'm saying. Like, I don't even count that. I just mean like is the blue collar guy like no one's gonna be doing what we did. Isn't that kind of crazy? Like,
that's why I got out.
yeah, I know, but I mean, good for them, I guess. But at the same time, it's also like 50 years from right now.
Mm-hmm.
No one's gonna do what we're doing. We did.
Yeah, it'll be a lost art, just like tuning a carburetor that people are gonna have to
Yes.
figure out themselves, like I had to.
Yeah. That's
Setting
also
up a
good point.
carburetor, using a timing light to set the distributor on my Buick. Just, all right, I'm going to Google this, see how it's supposed to work. Okay. I guess.
I
Let me
love the
try.
simplicity of a timing light and how well that works.
I think I got it right on my Buick. It's at like 10 degrees. I think I set it to that.
Yeah.
But,
So we have turned this into a car podcast again. This is what happens.
that's what I
folks
know.
at
I'm
homes.
sorry.
Well, folks at home, when Adrian and I don't talk for a while, and we get a chance to sit down, this is usually how it starts, and so that's how our first episode happened. But let's. So there's a bunch of car stuff that I wanted to go over with you. I think we're gonna start with, which I just brought up, The N Vision.
The N Vision 74. Also known as... Hyundai is somehow the only car company that knows what people want right now.
Yeah. So I want to start this off with saying I cannot get a straightforward answer whether or not this is going to be in production or not. So many. I have the same number of articles that I've clicked on for it will and it won't be.
So
in
the
production.
key to that is you need to look at the dates that they were published. So
all in the same year.
Yeah, but you need to look at the dates specifically. So
like all within like so the two that I'm like thinking of like just now were a week apart. It was May of this year, the 24th and then the 29th.
What had happened was, I forget what magazine it was. It might have been Road and Track or Motor Trend or something. Interviewed the designer, the head of this project,
and they were like, no.
The head of the project was like, we would love to, and we might be open to it if there's enough demand. Maybe. He gave them a lot of maybes.
Yeah.
As a result, everyone ran with that like, it's a possibility. It could happen.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Exactly. Then a Korean automotive journal, I don't know the name because
South Korea, yeah.
It's some Korean
I read that one
thing,
too.
said that someone inside had leaked that they were going to be announcing green light production, like that they had greenlit it at the end of the month, at the end of May, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting with like bated breath. I was like, please release this announcement. And then Hyundai immediately like came out like a day before that day and was like, no, that's false. And then the day came and nothing happened, and they never announced it. So the only official word that we have from the project lead originally was maybe.
Yeah.
And if they did release it, it'd be a limited run, which means it'd be expensive, which means you and me couldn't afford it.
I'd figure it out.
But
I would figure it out.
I would sell my kidney. And it's sad because it is a gorgeous car, and I've seen renders where people have like toned it down. They've like got rid of the crazy.
This is my favorite
splitter,
promo, by the way.
Got rid of the big wing and all that, but left like the overall body shape and some of the wide body on it, and it still looks gorgeous.
No, it needs to come out just like this. I know what you're saying, and I get that you're being realistic about it, but I mean, we're looking at the Hyundai website, the N Vision 74 on their website. You can go home, you can Google it, but if you click on their actual website, as soon as you open the page, they have this beautiful B-roll of the concept car, and it is my favorite thing. To set this podcast up, I try to look for so much. Like I wanted a collection of like good pictures for us to just kind of gawk at. And this is where I landed.
There it is.
This is the best.
In motion.
Yeah, in motion, and it just keeps replaying. I love
something
it.
you might want to watch, actually. Top Gear.
Yeah. They did it.
I
haven't watched it, but I saw that they drove it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably should have watched it before we did the podcast, give myself some knowledge. But
Hyundai and Kia, for all their faults, are making interesting cars.
Yeah. So now there's the hot topic right now is that like with the discrepancy of it even being in production, everybody's wondering what the actual power plant is going to be. So I'm interested
if they released
in
it.
Yes.
Hypotheticals here.
Hypotheticals, because if you look back at Hyundai's, like their previous engines that they've put into things, I mean, there's actually a lot of good options. Like Hyundai has put together a few, the Stinger engine.
So let's go into two different directions with this. All right.
Yeah.
What engine would I like to be in there versus what engine do I think they would put in there if it came out?
Yeah.
Now, I would like one of the either one of their Turbo 4s or even their Turbo 6s if I could get it with a manual transmission. That's the biggest thing. Whatever engine they need to put in there to get me a manual transmission, that's all I care about.
Okay. Did the Stinger come manual? I don't know enough about the Stinger.
No, I don't think it
didn't. Okay.
Which is why I couldn't think of any of their V6s.
That's the one that comes with the most,
exception of the Genesis Coupe, the V6 non-turbo.
Yeah, but that's like too old. Do they even make the Genesis anymore?
Yeah, Genesis is its own brand. It's their luxury brand.
No, but the Genesis Coupe, do they still make that? I don't think they make that anymore.
They don't make a coupe. They make like the G70, and I forget if
But
you can
those
get
are luxury
any,
cars,
Yeah,
right?
but I think you might be able to get one of the manual. So whatever drivetrain's in that, if they could slap that in there.
Yeah.
But I don't remember for sure if you can get a manual.
Well, it's not the V8, which is. I mean, I'm an idiot. I'm a.
Okay,
I'm
what
a
engine
bit
do I
of a-
wish it would come with? I wish it
I'm
would
a
come with
bit
an
of-
LS with a
I want-
T56.
I want an LS. Yeah, I want the. I think it's a 5.0.
Yeah, the Tau V8.
Yeah, that's what I want in that. But I get it, and like you made a good point. I didn't even think about the transmission part. Is that like there's so few options for a manual transmission, so they should have a manual option.
Yeah, so if they put
least.
their turbo, I think did they punch it out? Because it used to be the 2.0 turbo was the big turbo 4, but I left Kia just as they rolled out their new line of engines, including a 2.5 non-turbo 4-cylinder, and I think they might have updated their turbo 4, but I don't remember if it's whatever their newest turbo 4 is with a manual transmission. Rear-wheel driving that thing would probably be plenty fun.
As long as it's a big 2, like a 2.4.
That's what I'm saying. They used the big turbo 4 because they had the one.
Yeah.
They had the 1.6 turbo 4, and then they had the 2.0 turbo 4. But I don't know if the new generation, if they punched it out, because I know that they punched out the non-turbo. It was a 2.4 non-turbo, and now it's a 2.5.
Yeah.
So they might have punched out the turbo one. I don't remember.
Okay.
But
Yeah, because you know what's so amazing is that like I think that all of those platforms all work. Like hearing like a turbo 4-cylinder come out of this, what we're looking at, sounds good. Hearing just a
twin turbo V6
or a non-turbo, just throaty V6,
Yeah, I'd be happy with
they've
that.
also have created. But of course, like adding a turbo makes nothing worse. But so the V6 would work, and then just hearing like a
V8.
Japanese V8 coming out of this would also
A Korean
just
V8.
work. Oh yeah, well sorry, Japanese.
yeah, but
Korean V8.
yeah, absolutely. But as for what they'd actually put in it, probably just it would probably be
It's not gonna be the V8. It's gonna be the Ford.
no, it
four-cylinder.
would probably be an electric car, straight up.
I know,
This
but
this concept is a hydrogen fuel cell car,
right.
but hydrogen infrastructure's incredibly limited. It only exists in some parts of California.
Right. So if they lose that hydrogen cell part of it though, doesn't it suck?
No, they just the hydrogen fuel cell. I think it's a hydrogen fuel cell. Now I'm not sure.
It is.
Yeah,
100%.
No, the hydrogen fuel cell that doesn't make power. That makes electricity
It
to
makes
feed the battery.
But it makes this like high output battery like last longer.
So you take out the hydrogen tank, you take out the fuel cell, and you put more batteries in its place.
Can they do that? Is the discussion.
This is just a prototype.
I think
They could totally.
Yeah.
They have plenty of time to retool
Okay.
the entire thing for packaging.
Okay.
So my guess
I
is it
think
would come
that-
out with like the Kia EV6 or the Hyundai Ioniq 6
Yeah.
like drivetrain and battery pack. That would be my guess.
Is it fast?
It can be.
Well, so that's what the
The other thing you have
discussion.
to remember though is it fast is a completely different question for an electric car than a gas car. You go back 10 years when the Nissan Leaf was about all you had, that was a fair question. Nowadays, every base model
It's pretty quick.
base model electric car does 0 to 60 in at least like less than 8 seconds, 7 seconds, which is plenty quick to have fun.
Not
Most of them are in closer to 5.
that needs to be under 5.
Even if it wasn't, as long as it drove
The
good and
fact-
looked that good,
No,
it might be okay.
I feel like the fact that it's such a concept. And
Well,
that
here,
and-
let's
So, no,
just
no, but
Google
hear me
real
out.
quick
Hear
what
me
the
out.
EV6's 0 to 60 time is.
But just hear me out. I'm just in the pure fact that this thing's a concept and that we've already said that this is going to be an expensive vehicle because of it being such a concept that it has to be fast. Like people are going to pay a lot of money for this car. And honestly, to me, I would love for this not to be one of those cars that goes down in history as being expensive and slow. So I think the idea of the hydrogen fuel cell, the way I believe it is
Kia
that
EV6 GT, which is the performance version,
3
but this would be from there. Yeah, 3.2 seconds. Is that good enough for you? Quarter mile in 11?
Yeah.
Is that fast enough?
That's fast enough.
There you go.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
All right. Well, then why? What did they? I mean, what did they? They just trying to freak people out with this hydrogen fuel cell, because it seemed like the only way that they were going to be able to like make this a like 600 plus horsepower car was with a hydrogen fuel cell, and that's what the people want is a 600 horsepower.
It's a technology demonstrator.
Yeah.
That's what
So
it is.
I would say, like, realistically, it doesn't come with the
If they
hydrogen
produced
fuel
it,
cell.
I don't think it would come
comes
with
with the fastest thing that they can make electric, and it comes out all electric.
Yeah, that's
Probably the
where
most,
it would come out.
best case scenario.
That's
Okay.
what it would do.
Yeah. And then maybe like a 4-cylinder option, like a big 2,
The
big 2.4.
the architecture for making an electric car from the ground up is so different.
Oh, okay. So it might even have
it
an
wouldn't be
option.
feasible.
No,
They'd be
okay.
2 different cars.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Well, I like the idea of it being gasoline. I'm such a
if
such a motorhead.
If
I get it.
Can make Tesla Model S's gasoline powered.
Yeah.
If they actually release that, give it a couple years, some mad lad's gonna do it. Someone's gonna drop a 2J in the thing.
Oh, you haven't already seen that?
What?
The LS swapped.
That's what I'm
Teslas?
talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If
oh,
someone
you're
can
talking
do
about
that-
this. Yeah, people already do that, so then they're gonna do that to it.
They're
Yeah.
totally gonna do it.
Fuck yeah, they will.
Yeah, there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
that'll be sweet. Well,
Hyundai-
I hope it comes out.
Hyundai rolls that out. If they by some miracle roll that thing out,
Please.
somewhere down the line, someone's dropping an LS or a 2J
Yeah.
or something in the thing.
Fuck yeah.
Rotary.
Yeah, 4 rotor.
4 rotor.
Bop, bop, bop. Yeah. What other car stuff? Let's see. I put some. I think it was the next one I wanted to talk to you about was the Koenigsegg Gemera.
Yeah, because
I mean,
1,300 horsepower is not enough.
Yeah, so they have 2,300 horsepower, all for the small price of 1.7 million.
Yeah, but you can
Koenigsegg.
take you and 3 friends.
Yeah, and actually, I think it technically is it 4 seats.
It's a 4-seater. That's
yeah,
what I said.
yeah.
You and 3 friends.
You and 3 friends. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm dumb. I'm an idiot.
This thing
Yeah,
is-
so 4 seats, supercar, 2,300 horsepower. I think that's the most horsepower it's technically ever come out of anything.
A production car, yeah.
vehicle, yeah.
Koenigsegg's one of those
And it's beautiful.
Koenigsegg's one of those slept-on brands. Like, people know of them,
Yeah.
but they don't say the name Koenigsegg with the same reverence as
Yeah.
like Pagani or something like that.
Dude, I don't even. We have had this conversation too, where like anyone who has enough money to buy something that's like within $250,000 to $500,000 goes and buys a McLaren P1.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not wrong.
Yeah.
It's a good, nothing wrong with it. Great, amazing car. But like everyone has it.
Mm-hmm.
Why is no one buying one of these?
Koenigseggs?
Anything Koenigsegg is amazing.
Yeah.
I love the V8 ones.
Yeah.
Some of the older V8 ones. I think
The
they've all
CCX or
moved.
the CCR.
Yeah, yes.
I just
They
remember
are death traps.
Yeah, I was going to say. I remember in all of the video Gran Turismo or Forza, they were fast, but they were undrivable.
Impossible to drive. Maybe that's why these people don't buy them, but they all just drive around Hurricanes or Huracans.
Huracans, but yeah, it's like an 1,100. I don't know the numbers. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but it's like an 1,100 horsepower V8 paired with like a 900 horsepower.
Yeah.
Electric motor.
Yeah.
Put it all together, 2,300. That doesn't math out, but like I said, I don't know the numbers.
Yep, it's 2,300 though. That's what they're claiming. 2,300 horsepower, 4 seats, beautiful car inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's downright a luxury car. I mean, it's so beautiful. I love the green that they chose too.
Where are the interior shots? 2,700 Newton meters. What's that in American torque? Because I don't know. Yeah, 2030 practically. 2030 foot-pounds of torque.
Yeah.
Could pull a trailer.
Dude,
Pull a
speaking
semi.
of that, I mean, pull a trailer my ass. I mean, bro, you could pull a house
Off the foundation.
off the foundation. I see a lot of Teslas today with like a drop hitches upside down to pull a trailer with, and
Yeah.
I haven't seen one yet pull anything. I haven't seen anyone pulling anything, but I see a lot of trailer hitches on the back of Teslas.
Yeah, they can pull them, but
Yeah. Like Model A's too, like just the cars.
It's not a car.
Model.
They've got the sexy lineup: the S, the 3, the X, and the Y. Sexy.
So Model S is the car.
Mm-hmm. Model 3 is the smaller, cheaper car. Model X is the SUV.
X
and Y is the smaller SUV.
Yeah, so I see a lot of the S and the X. Like the X kind of makes more sense, the SUV, but the car version, I'm like, see a drop hitch going halfway up the bumper.
Yeah, the biggest issue with electric cars currently when it comes to towing is it nukes your range.
Yeah,
like absolutely. Like, I'm not sure the efficiency numbers on there, but a lot of people seem a lot more concerned about the loss of range when towing with an electric car versus the loss of range when towing with a gasoline or diesel car.
I wonder if that's even like exponential. You know, as you start off, you're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
Part of me wonders if that's
Am I gonna make it?
If that's just like range anxiety, which is something that you have to worry about less and less as the days go on and more charging stations pop up and the cars charge faster and faster. But I do wonder if like EVs take a bigger hit on their range versus an equivalent diesel or gasoline car when they're towing something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with a gas car, you might lose 40% of your overall range when you're towing, and on an electric car, you might lose like 50 or 60%. I don't know.
The difference being, I think that in like real time, that you can see like the amount of gas that you're using.
What
I think doesn't a battery degrade in a different rate as it goes down?
Not
like, could you get to a half a battery and be like, well, I made it 200 miles. Like, can I get another 200 of this other half of the battery?
I think they discharge pretty consistently.
Okay.
Lithium ion does.
Okay.
At least I know the old nickel metal hydride batteries that we use in our RC cars when we were kids. You get like down to 40% battery, and the thing's like,
I'm done. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm worried about.
Lithium ion batteries, as far as I understand, tend to drop off more suddenly at the end of their
bit more linear than exponential.
Yeah, they
decline.
They stay pretty steady for a while before they drop off right when they die.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if that's better or worse, but at least if it's telling you how many miles you got,
if your battery indicator is accurate, then it should be calibrated so that it tells you to stop driving before you nosedive.
Yeah. Nice.
But
so the only thing I don't know about this is the battery charging apparatus.
That's something I've wondered about with these performance hybrids. Like they say, okay, combined you get 2,300 horsepower. What do you do when the battery's depleted because you've been stomping on it and then you go stomp on it again? Do you just not get that? And
probably.
How much power do you lose out of your gasoline engine when it's, charging the battery?
Yeah.
So I feel like, that peak power isn't necessarily consistent once your battery starts to run low.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if this thing can run just off the gas. Is that possible? Or
I don't actually know.
Yeah.
I don't know how separated the two drivetrain systems are. If it can drive on all electric... Oh, yeah, 1,500 horsepower from the gas engine and 800 horsepower from the... what's it? The electric.
I got a pee so bad. So if you want to talk to yourself about this or the next thing, which was this.
Talk to myself about RWB. I feel like you're the RWB expert.
Shit,
though.
I kind of am the expert. Well, if you want to talk more about this for a second, and I'm gonna pee because I'm gonna pee myself.
I mean, we're over an hour. We could have called it.
Nah, we can keep
You
going.
want to keep going?
Yeah, we keep because there's still tons of car stuff. We'll keep going.
This
It's
is
all
just
right.
another car episode.
Yeah,
It's
we'll just do a
turned
small
into
edit
that.
here. It's fine. Technically back to the podcast now. Sorry for the
Intermission over.
small intermission, but we're back. So let's just take a look at the time here. So it was 1:09 something.
To 1:13.
1:13. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're back, and so if you want a 2,300 horsepower
Family car.
family car, it's available now.
Yeah. Only
For
$1.7 million.
1.7. This is a cool 1.7. No big deal.
So you wanted to talk about RWB?
I do, because on that same topic of just high-end stuff. Yeah, RWB. So, RAUH-Welt BEGRIFF, which stands, I think it's German for rough world build or something like that. But yeah, really cool guy. I'm not gonna butcher his name. It's like Akiana something. Really cool guy. Gets a lot of hate, obviously because he's essentially he's bastardizing cars. You know,
He's getting hate for that.
that's what he's getting hate for. He's getting hate, and this guy's a millionaire now. You know, he's doing really well for himself, but. He's got a whole crew. I mean, he's franchised all over the world, like different shops. So the idea being that like now RB or RWB that today is anyone basically in the world can easily find themselves a shop where they can go and have him build them an RWB Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
So you just bring the car to them.
Yeah, so
you order the kit online from them and
it
bring
goes
it
to one of their franchised shops.
Exactly. You bring the car.
It's like an authorized dealer or something like that.
So they have a crew of guys that all work, and ladies, I don't know, who all work at one of these shops to organize all of this. And then usually they'll have like a crew of guys that'll do a lot of the prep work. And then when I feel like I just can't pronounce his name right, but Akian, he'll just show up and then he does all of the fine tuning fabrication of the fenders, and like in doing his like final touches to it, you know, like everything from like cutting the fenders and like making everything fit the way he wants it to. So like he gets all the fitment right, and then he always I also love is that he does his like own brand of tires where like I don't know what the actual brand of the tire is, but he just like scrapes off whatever it is and then just puts in the white ink, just idlers.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see any of these cars that just roll around just on one spot on the tire on like big white letters, it says idler. And that's like his like branding, which is like so cool.
So, you know, I have a couple questions about, you know, the brand and what they actually do.
Yeah.
'Cause I've heard of them. I know what their product looks like, but
Mhm.
I've never actually dug into them like you have.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just a body kit?
Yep.
It's just an aero kit.
That's it.
There's no performance mods, no suspension.
Nothing.
Has this been aero tested?
Maybe suspension. And yes, they do races.
They do races. So
Yeah, it was a full-on race. So, I mean, as far as like aero tested, like, is it worse? I mean, I don't know. Probably.
because like there's a lot of science to aerodynamics. You can, anyone can create something that makes downforce. You get a flat board and you angle it up, and there you got some downforce. But to do it while minimizing drag and turbulence, and making it so that the car actually drives better,
it just looks cool.
there's a science.
100% just looks cool.
So that's all he does.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to like diminish what he does.
Sure.
Because he's obviously been
He's
very
an artist.
successful, and it looks great.
Yeah,
like,
he's an artist, and in the best form, he's an artist, and he gets so much shit for being one. And the problem is the fact that he is sawing into factory Porsche parts and making these all fit onto that car. But what's beautiful is, and here's the other thing is, he's also a millionaire, and he shows up like just all over the world for like maybe a week in like every spot, and just cuts all the fenders and just does everything, but like doesn't do like any of the like the protective stuff. So like he literally just cuts them, fits all the fenders, makes it look beautiful, and then someone else from his team
come in and like seal it all. And
we'll remove
rust-proof
everything.
it.
Exactly, rust-proof it, make it all clean and safe and ready to go. So all of these cars are definitely lowered as well. So I don't know if they already have to have like suspension with it. I haven't looked into any of the kits, but like I don't know if they do come. They might actually come with like, I think you might be right. It might come with like a coilover, or maybe it's an option to put coilovers on it to make it sit the way it's supposed to, so that he can do it. But he adjusts all of that too, like where it sits.
Oh, and wheels. And no, he does have a suspension package.
Yeah, okay.
It's only $5,500.
Oh, yeah. They can spend $250,000 on this thing.
Yeah. Wheels, the body kit. Yeah, so it's body kit, wheels, and suspension.
Yeah. But, I mean, he gets hate from people, and I'm sorry. Like, if you're hating on anybody, I mean, it's just jealousy.
Well, I mean, this guy does have a dream job. Well, I can understand some of the hate he gets if it's from these people who are like, you're cutting into these vintage Porsches.
Yeah.
They don't make any more of them. You know, you're ruining like these perfectly good.
But look how they come out.
Yes.
Better than when I mean, to me, they are just beautiful when they get done. I mean, it's everything that I would want out of a Porsche today. If I had the cash, if I just had, $250,000 burning in my pocket, I would, Mm-hmm. But it's pretty cool. So this guy, he started out as a young guy just working in an auto body shop in Japan, and someone came in and they had a bunch of work that needed to be done to one of these, a 911 that came in, and the guy was kind of, I guess he must have been already on the fence, but he bought the car off of him, and it turned into the first car he ever did, and he names all of his cars that he does for other people, he names. So his first car he did was he named after his favorite beer, which is Stella Artois. So I don't know if you can find that. It's black. Let's see if it's on here someplace.
I don't know, but no. Do you want to?
If you want to, you can try to pull that up. I don't know if it's on here though. If you go to about.
No, I was there.
Oh, okay, then maybe not. That's crazy that they don't like debut that car.
Well, they don't even say his name anywhere on the website.
Yeah,
I was here and.
Just go back to
Nakai.
Yeah, just go back to the Google page. So here, or just do that. Just put a Stella Artois. Oh, it's right there. That black car right in the middle.
This guy?
Yep.
So that was the first?
Yeah, so click another picture if you go down on the right side. There's more pictures of it. And it literally says Stella Artois on the side. Oh, that's the front picture. Side picture.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, but I mean, that was the first one. So that's the one that he bought, from someone who came into the shop. It was just kind of beat up, and they wanted to fix it. I think he bought it for a good amount of money. I think in US dollars, it was still over $30,000.
Yeah, I mean, those Porsches are not cheap.
Yeah.
Even in rough shape.
Yeah.
They command a decent price, and for good reason.
Yeah. But, so I mean, I guess just hard work, saving money. I don't know where he got $30,000 or if he borrowed it. Didn't say, He probably... I mean, he definitely didn't start off in his life rich, which is so cool. Mm-hmm. Where, and I don't know if it's a play, but, if you look up the guy, so, just look up, owner or, Yeah, at Nakai, yeah. So when he shows up, like he doesn't like wear nice clothes. He just like kind of shows up and he's just kind of like a grungy, like cool. That's his shop in Japan.
Yeah.
He's just
He just shows up in
he doesn't
cargo
wear
pants.
Yeah, doesn't wear his millions. He's got crazy hair. Yeah, look at this guy. He's so cool. Yeah.
Stained.
Just always smoking cigarettes.
He's just
the one
wearing
thing that
one sock.
yeah. Dude, the one thing that he does do is that like anywhere he shows up, he brings this big chair with him. He has this like big like king's chair.
A throne.
A throne. Yeah, is a good word for it. So look at that. Look up that like throne. He brings his throne with him, and he just like sits there and like smokes cigarettes in it. Yes, just sits there and like smokes cigarettes in it and like stares.
It's like a high back leather chair.
Yeah, high back leather red chair with like brass or gold like
and brass fixtures.
Yeah, little like pieces on it. But like there's just like tons of videos of like him, just like raw footage of him just like sitting there kind of taking a break and like looking at like what he's doing and like thinking about like what he needs to make the changes for. Just kind of sitting there and like smoking a cigarette and just like thinking, and it's cool. But like that's the one thing that he does like as like a flex. But other than that, I mean, which is hardly a flex. I mean, it's probably just like a good idea, honestly.
Just carry your chair around.
Yeah, I mean, as an artist, you just want like something good to sit in and just think.
Yeah, he doesn't have a mood room.
Yeah.
Or an inspiration board.
And
he just has his chair.
Yeah, but he's doing this in other people's shops, you know? So like who knows what they have as far as accommodating chairs and like thinking. And people pay you a lot of money. So it's like,
I'm bringing my damn chair.
Yeah, I'm bringing my goddamn chair. I'm making sure I get this done right, you know?
Need to be
Make
in
sure
my element.
I'm comfortable. Yeah. So just such a cool guy. I mean, there's you know, some fun facts, but I mean, that's pretty much it. You know, he's just a cool guy. Then you can pay a lot of money, and he'll
make
do
you
that
a
to your
nice
car.
Porsche.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
an awful Porsche if you're a purist.
Yeah. Honestly, I think you can also just buy the kit, which is a lot of money, and like most people wouldn't do. I think you can just buy it and put it on yourself. I think that's an option. Maybe it's not. Maybe I should look into that. I don't know if that's even an option. But I just feel like if you spend that much money, you would love to also have him, like, be able to name your
the
car
full
and like,
experience.
yeah, the full experience, and just meet the guy. I mean, just like the few videos that I've seen where he's talking, he seems like a really cool, like intellectual guy. Intellectual guy.
We use big words here.
Yeah, big word.
I'm a big word guy.
Big word guy.
No, but RWB is definitely a neat company.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. So next on the list, keep just panning through some tabs here. I think Kia Boys is next.
Oh, you want to talk about the Kia
I
Boys?
want to talk about Kia Boys. Yeah, I think it's over there.
There.
Yeah. So Kia Boys has got like a $2+ million settlement now because so many people's cars have been stolen and broken into and damaged because
insurance
of this.
companies have been dropping those cars.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to insure your car if it's this model, you know, Kia Forte or Kia, you know, Soul, Sportage, whatever.
Yeah. Have you seen how they're doing it with like breaking in, like turning the cars on?
I saw a clip once, but
yeah. So obviously the plastics inside the car are really cheap. They can just kind of like just rip and tear the plastics away in the steering column until you can just get to the ignition switch. And the ignition switch with just like probably just a normal flat or Phillips head screwdriver will end up coming out. You can literally just remove the lock cylinder. So like the lock cylinder just comes out.
And then you just reach in and
yeah, and then but what's inside that lock cylinder turns is this little rectangle that flips the actual switch, which is the ignition, which is also the exact same size as a USB.
That's what I saw.
So yeah, so if you take a USB charger, like, or just any USB and just put it on there, now you have a handle, and that's how people are, air quotes, stealing these cars.
There's no air quotes, they're stealing them.
But no, air quotes, stealing the cars with a phone charger. The headlines are like, kids are stealing cars with phone chargers. And people are like, I don't even understand. How could they do that with a phone charger? And it's like, well, they're just using the USB side so they have something to turn. Because that portion of it is kind of recessed. So like the USB chargers are usually long enough to have something to grab onto. But yeah, you can get in and out within a couple of minutes, and then boom.
Yep, my parents actually have a Kia, and well, your mom had one.
Yeah.
Now it's
Ashley has one.
Yeah, now it's your sister's. And while it doesn't quite fall into like the high risk category of being like super easy to steal, because it's got an old school regular key, it doesn't have the fancy thing.
This is from 2011 to now, 2023.
Does that include the Soul specifically, or is it like 2011 Fortes?
Every model.
Okay, so then yeah, maybe it does fall into exactly
without
that.
a programmable key or like a transponder key.
With or without?
Every model without a transponder key
is the easy
is
one?
Susceptible
okay,
to
so
this.
Then both our cars are
Yeah.
highly at risk.
Yeah.
Well, luckily my parents' insurance haven't dropped them over that. And we're in a decent area that...
It probably does go by area. If they get enough of them, then the rates go up.
If they lived in Philly...
They can't just go up. Yeah.
If they lived in Philly or Chicago or, something like that.
But, Atlanta. Shout out to Atlanta.
Yeah. But, Kia actually mailed them a steering club. They got a letter saying we're sending this, and then a couple days or like a week later, steering club showed up.
And so wait, does it say Kia on it?
No, it's not branded Kia, unfortunately.
A missed opportunity, because that's like 100 years from now.
I've got the Kia Club.
I have the Kia Club that came with this car. Like back in the day, to be able to tell that story. There's so many cars like that today with like such a history. Like, I still have this with the car. I still have the
OEM Kia Club.
Yeah.
So that people couldn't steal it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous. So that
that's crazy. They just gave you guys a club. And we're like, well, good luck.
Yeah. That's not going to stop shit, though. They steal it for the thrill. If it crashes, oh well.
Yeah. They just... Literally, it's crashing, and, the door's open. You see the door open, and then, a 12-year-old hops out?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Fuck.
What is society coming to?
What happened to just stealing a car with somebody in it?
What happened to just stealing the radio and leaving the car?
Dude, remember that? There was a few there's a few cars back in the day, and they're like the Pontiac Bonneville, a couple cars that they just had for some reason the market for one of those factory radios was expensive, and someone figured it out, and I know for sure it was Chevy.
Well, did Hondas ever fall into that? Because they had that lock code if you lost power, disconnected
I think
from the battery.
I think they all did. I think it was just became a thing.
Toyota. I never saw it in a Toyota or something. It was only Honda.
No, I just mean a thing in general to steal the radio.
But Honda, their anti-security or anti-theft security was if the radio ever loses power, it would request a passcode. Yep. The passcode was supposed to be written in the owner's manual, but
if you didn't,
no one ever did that. Yeah. When they PDI'd it, it was rare that they actually took the time to write the code in there.
Yeah.
When I worked at Honda, and I had to change a battery, I had the software to, type in the VIN and look up the specific code for that radio, and I would always write it in the glove box, in the owner's manual, whenever I had to do that. But so often it wasn't in there when it should have already been there. So, back in the day, if I don't know if Honda still does it, but they did it up until the 2010s. When I was working at Honda, it was 2013, 2014. They were still doing it.
Yeah.
But if you lost power, you had to put this code in to unlock the radio. And if you put it in wrong enough times, it would lock it out entirely. And you had to take it to the dealership and have them unlock it.
Yeah.
That was and I forget how I used to know how to do it, but you had to go into some sort of secret
press
menu
a bunch of buttons
while powering it on to get to that to reset it so you could then put the code in. It was a mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you ever find yourself
was-
in that situation where you need that, you can call your local Honda dealership, ask them for the radio code, give them your VIN number, and they should be able to pull it up for you.
Yeah.
And if you've locked it out, now you need the serial number off the radio, which involves pulling the radio.
Yeah, and then fuck that.
Wait.
No,
No.
I think you're right.
Maybe on the older radios. The newer ones you could access, that's what it was. You had to do the secret like thing because you could access the
the thing.
serial number
Yeah.
through like a startup menu.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm remembering. It's been like 10 years since I've had to do that, so a little
Yeah.
rusty on it. But yeah, why can't we just steal radios instead of the whole car?
Kia made it too easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kia made it way too easy, which I don't know. I mean, it does feel like it might actually be kind of their fault, but I mean, they probably didn't see it coming, which
I mean,
sucks.
that's a major design
you know?
flaw, though.
I mean,
Someone's gotta be
they probably would have
responsible.
thought like, who in the hell is going to steal a Kia? Like, no one. They never thought of that. They were like, You know, it's literally just a cheap option. It's just like hey, we can save money by not making this have to have a transponder key. You know, so
Well, plenty of cars don't have transponder keys and aren't susceptible to this. It was just a shitty lock cylinder design if it can be removed with a Phillips head or
Yeah.
a flathead.
yeah, or an easy design.
Well, here's the thing. I've
Is
replaced...
shitty is easy also shitty?
No, because I've replaced those lock cylinders. I didn't know the exploit that they're using. I didn't just break them out, but I've replaced them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pain in the ass to do it the right way.
Yeah,
To
not
take it
break
apart.
all of the plastics.
Yeah. Well, no. The plastics aren't the hard part. Getting that lock cylinder out
yeah,
is a pain in the ass to do it the right way without, like, physically breaking it out.
yeah. But it would take minutes, right? Like, it's not like someone can walk into, you know, CVS or a gas station and then come back out to the car and it's gone.
No, it
But-
wasn't that quick.
Yeah, but it would have to be like, hey, they're at work, hey, they're at home, it's at night, and like, hey, in 20 minutes I can do this.
Well, I mean, that's every car.
Well, I don't think it's every car.
Well,
no,
to
because I
remove
think
the
you're
lock cylinder.
but I don't think so. I don't know if it's that easy on every single car, because there's a lot of different things that like just come to mind for me is as far as like you have to get everything on, right? So like the steering lock, the lock mechanism, so it's not just the ignition. So like the cylinder itself, that design that it comes apart from the switch is the part are all. I thought that most of them today all come together, or like most of the ones that have ever been made, like any of the
Oh, you think the
ignition
electronic
switches,
part is part of the lock cylinder?
exactly. And that's how if you hermetically seal like the switch and the lock cylinder together, that's what makes it hard to do, because then you have to like just that's like the
Actual hot
the movie
wiring.
style like hot wire them together, but now you have to figure out how you're gonna get the thing to steer, because like you've wired the ignition, power's going to the engine and the rest of the electronics, but like how do you steer? So in this case, it's like you literally just remove the lock cylinder.
Well, I mean, you might
and then
say it's a design flaw that they made it two-piece,
mm-hmm.
and I can understand that. But as far as like just removing that lock cylinder and the way that was designed, I wouldn't say that was necessarily like the whole easy to work on, making it
wasn't advantageous
shitty
for
or
them.
cheapy or whatever. It's just
Chance.
it's
probably.
the fact that they made it two pieces that can be.
Yeah,
separated.
it seems like it's more coincidental, especially because they've done it for the last
They probably
decade.
they probably just did it that way so they could use both a transponder and a non-transponder. They both slot into that little switch.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not 100% sure, but
I'm sure it is. But I think like the problem being that like getting those things apart are probably different too. But yeah, I mean I think that it's probably just more by chance, like just by chance, like whatever was available for them at the time is what they used, and they used it for the last decade. Bro, from 2011 to now.
Well, I mean, do you think that, like, if we were to go into your Nissan and pull the ignition key out, that the electric part of the switch would come with that like lock cylinder?
I bet it would. I bet the wires go right into the back of it, and that's how it comes out. I think that's how most of them are. I think that's what I'm saying. I think it's just by chance that they had this style, and then just no one ever thought about it.
No one ever exploited it a decade ago, so they just kept using it. And someone found it.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh.
Yeah. I bet there's one guy that's been saying this forever, been telling all of his friends. I'm like, dude, someone's going to end up finding this out. But, hey, moving on to this. By the way, so
this isn't cars.
During the launch of the Falcon 9, on one of the videos of the burner,
that's the second
engine?
stage right there. That's the second stage engine.
Second stage engine. During the video of that, you can see something moving across like what looks like it holds the heat shield around it, and everyone thinks that it's a rat. So. But it's it's definitely not a rat.
It's ice. It's always ice.
Yeah.
SpaceX freezes basically all of their fuel. Liquid oxygen, first of all, which is the oxidizer, because to make fire you need oxygen, and in space there's no oxygen. But liquid oxygen is a cryogenic fuel. It is freezing cold.
Yeah.
And the kerosene, RP1, rocket propellant 1, it's literally just super refined kerosene. They also make really cold to make it more dense, so they can fit more of it. So you have a really fucking cold rocket before that engine ignites.
Mm-hmm.
And a really humid Florida air.
Yeah.
So it gets covered in ice.
Yeah.
So when it takes off and goes out into space, and it's vibrating and shaking, and it's getting hot because the rocket engine's going, the chunks of ice fall off.
Yeah.
They slide around on there.
Yeah, and then as it moves, they kind of get stuck. So I think the only thing that was weird that people were like, oh, it must be a rat, is just the way that it ended up being like kind of pushed around the connection pieces.
It's gonna move.
Like, what would you call that? Was that like a heat shield on the end of that engine?
Ring right here?
Yeah.
No, that's part of the plumbing for the fuel.
Okay, so but what's the thing that we're seeing? It's kind of red.
The red? Oh, that's the engine belt. That's it being hot.
Yes, but at the outside, is that more of like a heat shield, or is it like directing the entire thing?
This?
Yeah, so
that's
from there,
engine nozzle. That's the bell.
The bell.
Engine bell.
Okay, all right, cool. So
that directs the exhaust out.
Right. So what connects, like, where the fuel
this thing
plumbing
right here
is around the engine bell.
It gets caught here and moves kind of funky right here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the reason it's not moving the way you expect is because it's in space. There's no air to push it around. The only thing moving it is G-force and vibration. So it's not going to move the way you expect. Like, you'd expect it to just get, like, ripped out and fly off, but there's no air pulling at it.
Yeah. So it just kind of stays where it is.
Yeah, until something... Like, there are forces acting on it, but it's not the forces you normally expect.
Yeah.
You would expect wind to grab it and just rip it right out, but there's no wind to grab it.
Yeah.
So it's wedged there, and it moves with G-forces. If the thing, like, gimbals and moves, it might slide to one way or jump to the other side. And vibrations, but it's just ice.
Yeah, so
it's
folks,
always ice.
It's ice. It's just ice. Always been ice.
This isn't proof that, this is... Flat Earth is real. They did this in a studio. Look, a rat got on set. No.
Dude, that's what all the videos are like. See, it's flat Earth. There's a rat.
No.
And space is fake. I hate it.
Like,
I hate it.
If they went through the trouble of faking this, you don't think they'd be able to keep a fucking rat
out of
the prop? Like, come on.
I know. Yeah. I don't know. It's so funny, and it's so funny how far the internet takes things. Where like it just like I saw this and I knew I wanted to bring it up to you because I saw like how far that it was going on the internet of like how many like different predictions of what it was. But ice came up a bunch of times, like what you were saying came up a bunch of times, and like so. Just to make you feel better, like there are rational people on the internet also posting comments to bring us all to the reality. Dude, the flat Earth people, like that community, is bigger than I thought.
They've got members all across the globe.
It's yeah. all across the globe, not the flat Earth. It's bigger than I thought, though. It's worse than I thought.
I wonder if like it started as just some people trolling, and then more people joined up.
Just a few idiots were like, "Yeah, I bet it is." Yeah, probably.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Just because you don't understand the physics behind the proof you've been given doesn't mean it's not proof.
Yeah.
Because all of it's like, oh, well, that's just math and measurements. And yeah, math is like this universal law.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 + 1, it equals 2. Just because you don't understand the higher math doesn't mean it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, the flat earthers are like, well, what is 1? Yeah.
And there was that documentary where they were trying so hard to prove. And they had like a laser, and they went like a long distance apart. They're like, okay, if Earth is flat, then he should be able to see the laser we should be able to see the laser from here. And they got nothing. It's like, okay, well, if it was curved, if he lifts it up above his head, then we'd see it. He's like, okay, lift the laser up. And they lift it up, and it shows up, and he's like, huh. Well, that's not right. No, that is right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
That's the curvature.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're here to say that the Earth
is flat.
Not flat.
It's flat.
It's not.
Flat.
Stop. Let's not confuse this anymore. The Earth is not flat. Space is real. And SpaceX did not have a rat still on their rocket. They might have had a rat on their rocket. Who can't say that, but they did not have a rat on their rocket, Falcon 9, in space.
The only flights that could...
And as if the rat would even be physically able to just scurry around in space
because it's in a studio.
On the end of
it's in a studio right here on Earth. No, the only flights that a rat could possibly even have like the remotest chance of getting on would be the Starlink flights. Because that's all internal SpaceX. They don't have to like meet stringent requirements of NASA. But like if they're launching astronauts, or if they're launching like a NASA satellite, NASA's got these stringent like clean room requirements and all that stuff. There ain't no way a rat's making it through any of that. Like they would be found long before then. They'd shut the whole facility down, do a deep clean.
And a rat wouldn't even want to be on it. There's nothing that a rat would even want on the ship.
Might want to chew the wires.
I don't think so. I think that I don't know enough about rat biology, but I think that that's actually that's a byproduct of it finding a food source.
I had heard, and I haven't like verified this, but one of the reasons that a lot of auto manufacturer like wiring harnesses get chewed is they use like peanut oil as the lubricant to get the copper conduit like into the insulation. Yeah.
I don't know there's even that many rats that are doing that. I think squirrels
for sure.
Yeah.
And mice. I've definitely seen
squirrels,
dead
mice. Yeah, but like rats?
Well, I mean, we don't live in New York where there's tons of rats.
Food source, where there's tons of food source, and then there's tons of rats.
Oh, yeah, there's rats in Philly.
Yeah.
Maybe if I worked in a Philly garage.
Bro, I don't know enough about it to like fully talk about it on the podcast, but I know that there's more rats in New York City than there are people.
Oh, I believe that. I 100%
but
believe
in
that.
the city.
Yes. They're smaller than us. They take up less space.
I know, but when you walk down like New York City, like you might get lucky and see one.
Yeah, they avoid
even
people.
at night. I know, but isn't that crazy?
Like I said, I completely believe it.
I know. All right. Conceptually, I know that you've wrapped your head around it, but like I just feel like the number of rats and
it's
like there's actually
daunting to think about.
Exactly. That's like, I mean, that's what I'm kind of getting at. Is I think there's a documentary.
I know they're here.
I think there's a documentary on it, but just about how many of them there are. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, that I don't want to think about it too much. I mean, I don't go to New York often. I've been there one time. And that was enough, but I definitely didn't try to think about it while I was out there.
Yeah.
Just like, I know they're here.
I'm gonna try to watch the documentary and report back with maybe some more fun facts. But like that is a fact, is that there's more rats in New York City than there are people. I don't know how many people there are either, but it's a
lot.
lot of fucking people, dude. It's insanity. But it just kind of like shed some light into like the community of rats that like are alive, you know. And I think that like pretty much like rats do just stay in cities. I don't think there are like rats that are just like there's not many people in Iowa on a farm that have rats. Like they're gonna have like possums and other like large things,
Mice.
but I don't think mice. Like I don't think
Plenty of
like
mice.
rats are really into that kind of thing.
Did rats come from Europe?
Good question.
Like, did North America have a native rat population? Because I know they definitely came over on boats from Europe. And I know they were definitely in Europe because Europe, you know, industrialized rather early. Maybe not industrialized, but like they built up cities early.
Yeah,
And, you know, the bubonic plague, you know, spread
was
to,
from rats.
The fleas on rats, I think, was technically the disease vector.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were there. Not helped by the lack of sanitary conditions in ancient cities, but I do wonder if, you know, it just kind of crossed my mind, like, maybe there were no rats here until the white man came over.
And started fucking shit up. Well, small transition here. I guess we could probably end the podcast. I feel like we're almost at 2 hours here, so I think.
And we can cut like 4 of that out.
Yeah, the small pee break. But one more thing, because we've been talking about South Korea and Japan, and so this is the Fisher Mansion on top
the
of
Kingfisher Mansion.
Yeah, Kingfisher Mansion on top of this skyscraper in Singapore. I just thought it was really cool, and I wanted to know what you thought about that. I mean, it's $20 million mansion.
It looks nice in that you can be in the city and have a yard.
Doesn't look like it kind of looks like the White House on those.
It kind of, sort of, it's definitely using the same like architectural style.
Yeah.
Columns and
But just
all
this
that.
mansion that's just like literally sitting like not the top floor. It is
built
the
on top of the building.
Yeah.
It's like a separate building on top of the building.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a neat idea. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
But it definitely alleviates a lot of
close
the
enough.
issues with living in a city. You know, you got your privacy, you've got space. I like cars and driving, so that does nothing for me on that front.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I had to live in the city, I would prefer to live there.
Dude, but I guarantee you that this place has got a kick-ass garage. I mean, there's no way that this place isn't accommodate to someone who has money.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
again, you now have to drive through the city to get out. So, you know, let me just put a helicopter pad on the roof and fly me to my garage, you know, outside of the city.
That could be sick.
Then
Don't
I can
even
go
touch.
crushing like back roads.
Yeah, you don't even
Yeah.
touch the
Don't even
the city.
touch the dirty city in the
Yeah.
plebs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was cool.
No, it's definitely
So,
a neat concept.
Yeah.
Definitely caters to a very select few, however, due to the price and the limited availability of rooftops in a city. There are a lot of rooftops, but
Is 20 million high? Is that high?
you know what? Honestly, for like that space in a city,
Seems all right.
it seems about what I'd
It's
expect.
on par.
Yeah.
I bet you could spend 20 million in Philadelphia.
You might even get like less.
Yeah.
A lot less.
In Philadelphia. Yeah.
Or God forbid New York.
I know. No, New York for sure. New York for sure. You could probably buy a condo for 20 million.
On like the second to top floor.
Yeah.
Not even
exactly.
the top floor.
Yeah. I watched that documentary with the Epstein documentary, like talking all about like the wildness that was him, but he was gifted a condo that was worth way more than 20 million.
And
But like they were just like they gave it to him.
not nearly as nice as that.
No, not nearly as nice.
Not even close.
Well, I mean, I guess like the fact that it's on top, it's its own category. That thing's on top.
Yeah, that's beyond a penthouse.
Yeah. But this thing was pretty much like a penthouse, like beautiful, gigantic, like it must have been like the entire floor, like that is. And he never lived in it, which was crazy. People would just come in and clean it, and like no one ever went there. So like it's clearly a cash deal.
It's. Yeah,
you know, that was their point of bringing it up in the documentary, where it was like
real estate is the rich person's savings account.
That's
all it is.
Yeah, a lot of like politicians too, or like the houses that they live in, they didn't buy, they're given a house.
Donated.
Yeah, donated is a good word. That's cute.
Can someone donate me a house? I'll put it to much better use, I promise.
I know, right? I mean, if you split up all the houses that have been donated in the world and just like divvy that up, I think everybody could be donated a good apartment. What the fuck?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll end it, and yes, we'll see you on the next one, eh?
Yep.
All right, man. Well, much love. Thanks, guys.